And we are live. And oof, what a roller coaster night that we have had in the FIFA World Cup quarterfinals. The last two matches that we've seen, Norway versus England, Argentina versus Switzerland. The big breaking we are giving you is it's going to be an England versus Argentina semi-final because both games we saw the match decided during extra time. Argentina have beaten Switzerland, but not without controversy. England have beaten Norway, but not without controversy. Gents, I'm joined on this Super Sunday by Nikhil and Shane. Gentlemen, your thoughts on the Switzerland versus Argentina game? I mean, who would have thought Switzerland stretching Argentina to extra time? And we do have a controversy to talk about. VAR strikes again, the foul strikes again, the Embolo red card. So many talking points. Nikhil, we can't hear you. Yeah. Shane, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, Siddharth, this is one of those very unfortunate games that will once again lend so much credit to the conspiracy theorists, dare I say, who are suggesting that this tournament is rigged for Argentina. And I say that as someone who's actually defended some of the decisions that have come their way. I found this one a little bit undefensible, and let me tell you why that's the case. It's quite simple. I mean, this was a classic case of VAR over intervention. There was no need for VAR to intervene at that point in time. And not just not intervene, they didn't even need to perhaps change the decision. Paradise had gotten a yellow card, but VAR chose to intervene. And then to make things worse, they actually ended up in a situation where they overturned the decision and gave Breel Embolo a second yellow for simulation. Now, I watched the replays back. Whilst I wouldn't have called what happened there a foul, I definitely also would not have called it a simulation. It was bare minimum contact, and it should have just been left at that. There was bare minimum contact. There was no need for any other sort of how do I put this? There was no sort of need for any other kind of intervention. However, VAR chose to intervene, and whilst choosing to intervene, made an absolute hash of things. And once again, this is just one of those classic cases of the referee and the VAR in particular getting it horribly wrong. I dare say probably the worst decision we've seen in this World Cup since that Paraguay game where they intervened to kind of disallow a goal for what was a foul on the goalkeeper, but it was such a soft foul that the goalkeeper was able to get up. And thereafter, there was no problems with him going forward with the game whatsoever. So, yeah, I'm a little surprised with the way things went, but at the same time, not that surprised because refereeing standards have been very up and down throughout this World Cup.
Yeah, Nikhil. Nikhil, we still can't hear you. No, Nikhil, we still can't hear you. I think you can rejoin the link again.
Yeah, till then, Sadrav, how about you actually tell us what you felt? Because again, there's so much to talk about in this particular instance, and there's obviously a match also as well, which is a fairly good one. But I mean, the match, let's be fair, has been kind of overshadowed by this particular incident.
I mean, Shane, yet again, we have seen VAR. We have seen the problem. Now, you would remember, even in the Egypt versus Ghana game, I mean, sorry, Egypt versus
Yeah.
Argentina encounter, you saw that VAR had the entire process right from the beginning of the goal all the way till the finish. Okay, it was ruled out because what is the definition of a dive? Why did Embolo choose to be in that particular situation? Okay, the main debate is that it's a huge division as to whether there is. You look at the way how it goes. Did he dive? Was there a simulation? But it was so minuscule. But it is still following the process. The VAR situation is still following the entire process. Now, how on earth are you going to justify this? I have just no clue about this because VAR has been so subjective. That is my whole problem with this. It's been so subjective. It is open to interpretation. Many people are saying it's been followed to the rule. The process has been followed. I just don't know what to make of this because the rules are so subjective at this point in time.
I don't know. Can
Yeah,
you
I
Now,
mean,
guys
the
hear me now?
subjectivity is definitely an issue.
now I can hear. Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
yes,
please.
Nikhil, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I mean, how I see it, and I have a very different opinion to what Shane said, and I'll tell you why. Firstly, I'm going to go back to this particular incident. Is it unprecedented? And the simple answer to that is no. This is not unprecedented because the exact same thing happened in this very World Cup in the USA versus Paraguay game, where there was an instance where the Paraguay player Almiron did exactly this. He dived, and he was then that decision was reversed. So, firstly, the American defender was given the card, a yellow card for tackling Almiron, who's sorry for tackling uh, the American player, and then they reversed that decision, later realizing that it is the American player that has the Paraguayan player in Almarin who has taken a dive. So once they realize it's the striker, the Paraguayan striker who's taken a dive, then the card that was given to the USA defender is taken back, and then it is given to the Paraguayan striker. So it happened exactly like this. So it's not even like a very different scenario. It's exactly like this. And on that occasion also, VAR intervened. Now, to answer your question, Siddharth, that why is it inconsistent? In fact, if VAR intervened in that game and if it not intervened in this game, then that would be inconsistent, right? So if VAR intervened in that particular game, then it's only natural they should have intervened in this. Now, generally, most fouls VAR does not interfere with. But remember, this is a card. And in a lot of times, and again, this is not a subjective decision on the referee's decision on whether it's a foul or not. No. Do you know why they went to VAR? Because it was a case of mistaken identity. Okay, now that is a blatant miss by the referee, which for which VAR it is in the rules. I went through the rules for which VAR has to intervene and tell the referee that it is a case of mistaken identity. So what VAR saw was that the red card was given to the wrong person in that tackle. It should have been given to X, but it's been given to Y. So they told him it's a case of mistaken identity. Then it goes back to the referee. It is back to the referee again to decide whether he wants to stick with his card or not stick with his card, but so that he knows there is a case of mistaken identity. Now, when he looks at the replays, there is a clear-cut scenario there where there is a dive. At no point do you see at that very moment that there is any contact. In fact, I saw that replay multiple times. I didn't see any contact. My point is you have to look at the intention. The intention of, and I know Embolo went away crying, and it is heartbreaking for any player to go back. But you have to go back to the intention. His intention was to dive, which was to eventually result in getting a wrong card for a player. Is that fair intention? To me, it is not, right? So for an intention like that, where you're trying to create a smoke screen or trying to fool the referee into giving someone a card, I think that amounts to a yellow card, which is why when he sees it in the replay, he gives that yellow card. So one thing, there was no contact, so the yellow card to the Argentine player is wrong. There is a dive for which the referee is entitled to give a yellow card because you're trying to then, fool the referee, for which he does give the yellow card. Now this is, coincidental that Embolo had already got a yellow card, and that was also a clear-cut foul for which he gets a yellow card. Then it's unfortunate that he gets it. But I think him as a striker also needed to be careful not to be making that dive and to ensure that the player gets it. So on that front, I think the right decision was taken. And as I said, go back to the rules. It is not that he was trying to overrule the referee VAR. VAR told him it's a case of mistaken identity, for which VAR has to step in. As I gave you an example, it stepped in the Paraguay USA game, where a similar yellow card was overturned because they realized that the Paraguayan striker had died. So the American defender's yellow card was overturned. So there is precedent there. So if VAR did it there, if VAR did not do it here, that would be inconsistent according to me.
So we do have a division, and social media is divided. We are also divided. Shane believes that it is not it shouldn't have taken place. Nikhil has made a point that it was a case of mistaken identity. That is why VAR had
I don't
to
know.
take
That's the
place.
Yes,
rule that was used, Siddharth. That's the rule that was
yes,
used.
that
Mistaken
is the rule that
identity
was
is
used.
in
Yeah,
fact the rule. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
the thing
then
is that when I looked at it, I thought at best that it was a 50-50 that should have been left alone. That's the thing. That's where again I don't really know if we are on this one right or not. And I think yeah, I think people
I'm
are going
just
to stay
saying,
divided
I
on
want
this
to
one.
ask Shane a question. Shane, in if there is ever a scenario where
Yeah.
you're a referee, okay, and you in your forget VAR or whatever, you in your case has
Uh,
seen a player dive, in which case he is trying
uh,
to mislead you as a referee. Isn't that a yellow card?
yeah. No, no,
So that was a dive.
110%. If it is ruled
So
if it's
where
ruled a
was
dive,
so? Yeah. So if you look at that replay, don't you see a dive there?
I don't know. I thought when I looked at some of the replays that there would have been a minimal contact, but again, that's what I was saying. The minimal contact means that it's neither a foul nor is it a dive. So that could have actually been left alone. At best, you could have perhaps overturned the yellow card. So I don't know because again, when I was looking at those, I was like, okay, there is maybe minimal contact, but it's again a bit like, say, for instance, what happened with Salah in the previous game, where there was some degree of contact, but nowhere near close enough to be giving it a foul. So I don't know. I think the referees perhaps maybe they got this one a little 50-50. You could have left it.
Okay. Okay, I saw no contact. So I mean there is I tried to see the replay. There is no contact, and so he wants to dive and get that foul in his favor. And by the way, the contact that comes is after he finishes the dive. So he's fallen on the floor,
Yeah.
the dive is done, and then there is a little bit of contact that happens. Anyway, it's a question of perspective how Shane looks at it and how, and I think we've all put our points forward. Let's
But
turn to
but
the
one thing
game.
I will say though is that I don't think this is any case of I didn't know. I know people will be crying about it, and I did check my social media feeds. Is that oh this is again further proof of the conspiracy which is there to favor Argentina against other teams. You can call a refereeing decision good or bad. I think we can put the conspiracy talk to bed. This decision could have happened even in reverse if it actually had to happen.
Yeah, well, as I said, there is a game already in this World Cup where the exact same thing happened. But of course, it did not involve some big players and big team. And Argentina, in that case, has been a bit controversial this World Cup. So obviously, when something happens to them, the only thing uh, that you can look at, there is a Portuguese referee, and you all know the Portugal Argentina rivalry. So you can't even now pin the blame on anything like that. But anyway, that aside, as I said, let's get back to the game, and want to go back to the point that Siddharth said at the start. Said who would have thought that Switzerland would put up such a fight, and I tend to disagree because Switzerland's had great pedigree now at the World Cup. I remember 2014 also. They met in round of 16, Argentina, Switzerland, and on that occasion as well, Switzerland made Argentina sweat. That is a game that also went to extra time, and I think I don't know what minute this goal was. So the goal also came in that extra time, which Argentina won versus Switzerland around the 113th minute or so. And this was around that time, maybe 2 minutes here and there. So
Yeah.
in that sense, the decider comes around the same time in extra time, just as it happened in 2014. I'm looking at it, and by and large, Switzerland now has been doing rather well. In fact, there's an interesting stat that I was reading. Switzerland's last loss came almost 2 years ago. In 2024, they lost to Spain in the UEFA Nations Cup. So that's the last game they lost, Switzerland. So can you imagine how good they have been all along? And let's not also forget, they knocked Colombia out, who many thought
Yeah.
would have been the banana peel game for Argentina. And many at that time believed that Colombia will come through and Colombia might knock Argentina out. Now, so they've knocked that Colombian team out. So also tells you that they're a very well-organized team. And as they showed, even down to 10 men, defensively so very well organized, just did not allow Argentina that space at that opportunity. It had to be that screamer of a goal. And by the way, I mean, I think it'll go down in one of the top goals that we've seen this World Cup. I think it'll join the debate. Julián Álvarez, my God, what a strike that was. And I think nothing less than that would have given them the win, because I don't think Switzerland were letting go. I mean, they were playing for penalty, and there was a good chance you were going to get to penalties, despite them playing almost 40 odd minutes just with 10 men. So it was a good team. And I think, Argentina often says that You have to suffer to win the cup, and that suffering has been carrying on for them from that Egypt, from Cape Verde, then to Egypt, to now versus Switzerland. So that suffering continues. Who knows whether it will continue versus England or not? That's something that we'll come to. But just your thoughts on the game.
I mean, looking at this game, I thought Switzerland were very much. We always talk about certain teams being greater than the sum of their parts. That's been Switzerland throughout the World Cup. If you look at the players that they have, I mean, this is. I remember a time that Switzerland would have one or two players who were actually well known. Jadon Shaqiri used to be a cult hero. This current team
Yes.
doesn't really have a lot of those kind of players. I mean, their most well-known players probably Granit Xhaka, the current Sunderland captain, former Arsenal player. Other than that, you've got Manuel Akanji, who's played for Man City, currently at Inter Milan. And of course, there's Breel Embolo, who's probably their star player. But otherwise, this is not a team screaming star power. This is a team screaming industry, teamwork, tactical discipline, very well drilled. I think they were unlucky. They would have, if they took it to penalties, it's a 50-50. Penalties was a lottery. It needed one quality moment from Alvarez, and I think he's been long overdue that in this tournament because he's had an absolute torrid time, even at times being benched for Lautaro Martínez. But they needed that one moment of quality. It had to come from some of the players, and I think that would have been the only thing like saving this game for Argentina from going to penalties. Of course, Lautaro's goal thereafter was basically the exclamation point because Switzerland threw the kitchen sink. But you needed that Alvarez goal, otherwise this game was going to penalties, which would have been a lottery.
Yeah, I mean, Switzerland are punching above their weight. Even in 2018, they did rather well in the FIFA World Cup. And yes, the way how they displayed their fortunes against Colombia, that was really awesome in that sense. So, yeah, I mean, as you said, Shane, better than the sum of their parts at this point. But I would have to say again, they took the game deep. But Argentina, as you say, they've been walking on coals for the past three games. Cape Verde stretched them to extra time. Egypt stretched them to extra time. Now three straight games. The defending champions have been stretched to extra time by
No, no,
round of
Egypt
so
finished at regulation time. No, they
oh
got the winner in.
just about the last minutes at that time. Yeah, so it was very
Yeah.
Because
tense.
it
Now
carried on
we
for so long, Siddharth thinks it was extra time. I don't blame him.
I don't blame
yeah
him. I don't blame him.
Yeah. So you look at it, is this a problem that a better team will exploit? Say, for example, in England, because
Yeah,
Argentina have been
that's
stretched.
that's what I was coming to, Siddharth. We're talking about Argentina having to suffer through this World Cup. I think England are going to put them out of their misery. I do not for one second think that this team is even going past England, which is a bold prediction from me. But I think it would have been a very bold prediction if I had to say this prior to the World Cup. Looking at the way this Argentina team has been, they always tend to take the lead. They will then always tend to give back that lead, and then they'll have to suffer, struggle to actually try and get that lead back and get the win. I think Egypt was the one game where they went behind and then had to suffer because otherwise, again, Cabo Verde, they had the lead. They ended up letting through an equalizer on two separate occasions, very close to going to penalties. This match also, you had a lead, red card, they still equalized, all of that. And I'm looking and I'm wondering, why is it that this team, because I think it's a mental problem, they tend to just switch off when they have a lead and not even like a comprehensive lead. Like, I understand switching off if you're 2-0 or 3-0, although go back to that FIFA World Cup final of last year, they were 2-0 up and they switched off big time. And that ended up costing them what should have been a game they won easily in regulation time, goes to extra time, goes to penalties, requires them to go the whole hog. But this team really needs to actually, they have this culpability. And I do think sometimes this is where, having a coach who can perhaps tweak things around. Scaloni is good at that, but Tuchel, someone who loves knockout football, I do think England put them out of their misery.
I don't
Whoa.
know. I mean, if we will get to the England performance later. I'm not sure. I'll put England as the favorite. I'd still put Argentina as a favorite. Having said that, I think what I have learned from this Argentina team that they know how to concede goals. Yes, they know how to score
Mm.
goals, but I think they also know how to concede goals. And I'm sure that the English team is going to put them under a lot of pressure. I think Tagliafico today was a bit off. Though I'll say Martinez was very good. If it wasn't for Romero, Martinez, and the kind of at least in the first few half, the kind of resilience that they showed, probably Switzerland have got a goal, a few more. I mean, that said, Argentina also could have scored. I mean, that Messi pass that he receives right before regulation time ends. I know the linesman gave it offside, but replay showed it wasn't offside. So had he scored, he was one-on-one with the keeper, tried to lob over the keeper. A better finish, that goal could have been done and dusted. So I think they also wasted a lot of opportunities. Once they were 1-0 up, I think they had multiple opportunities to go 2-0 up, 3-0 up. But I guess that's what complacency. We're already leading. The mindset is we'll defend this lead, so you're not being clinical in your attack. And I think that's something, a luxury that they can't afford against an English team. So I think those are the areas that they'll have to work on. I'm going to take a couple of super chats that we've already got before moving on to what we saw in the other game as well. It's one of our regular viewers in Rakesh Bhushan who sent these. First one, he says, there wasn't even a fraction of contact. Embolo blatantly fabricated the injury despite already being on a yellow card. It was a naive act that deprived his team of a genuine fight. So he thinks the onus lies on Embolo, should have been more responsible to ensure in a scenario like that, that he stays on the pitch, especially knowing that he had a yellow card because his team needed him. Had he been on the pitch, who knows, match could have gone either way. Maybe Switzerland come up with a winner. Who knows? That's how close it was. He sent another one where he says, post Embolo's exit, Switzerland baffled me. Even with 10 men, they kept 2-3 players on Messi, gifting Argentina space and possession elsewhere. Until then, Switzerland had control of the game. After that, they lost their grip. I don't know. Thoughts?
I mean, see, I think every team has employed this tactic where they'll put 2, 3 men on Messi. And so what tends to happen is that he'll end up dropping either onto the flank or sometimes into midfield. And I have actually been waiting for this to happen in some teams whereby the other Argentine players realize, hello, there's 2, 3 guys on Messi. That means there's potentially a chance or space for me to go there and wreak some havoc. Again, if you look at Álvarez when he picked up that ball, there was no one picking him up. No one was marking him. So this is something that is bound to happen. It's a risk reward. But maybe you could have actually, see, there's two ways of looking at it. You could have nullified that tactic down to 10 men, but would that have then given Messi more space to engineer more goals? You don't really know. So I don't think it's fair to criticize. But yeah, with the tactic that being the way it was, they were always susceptible to that happening.
Talking about one star to the other, this was not Norway versus England, all being built up as Haaland versus England. His best friend, Bellingham, did end up getting the goal, the crucial goal to level things up. But where was the big guy?
The big guy was nullified by an English defense who realized that perhaps there are ways to man mark Haaland. Actually, I think they did what a lot of teams tend to do with Ronaldo, is that they'll not try and man mark Haaland out of the game. They'll cut off his supply line. So what tends to happen then is you stifle the midfield, you force the wingers very wide. And so any deliveries that come in, perhaps you're not going to be having the same impact. I wouldn't really fault Haaland. I mean, I did see him, put in his runs. He was more often than not engaging in duels with the defense. But I think England were very tactically smart, knowing, listen, this Haaland guy, I mean, a lot of them, lest we forget, have also played against him in the Premier League, so they know a thing or two. But I think the other thing is that managerially, I think they came up with a good strategy. And by and large, they stuck to that strategy. Because even if you remember the Brazil game, Haaland wasn't that impactful in the first half. But in the second half, once he had, I'm forgetting the name of that left winger who came on and was delivering plenty of cutbacks for him to attack, he suddenly came alive. So what England realized is, don't nullify Haaland. Cut off his supply line. If his supply line is cut off, then he's not going to be as effective. Although we were talking about Haaland, even Harry Kane couldn't actually impact this game. The difference maker ended up being Hey Jude.
Hey Jude.
Hey Jude. But again, Shane, if you thought this controversy about Embolo was there was a controversy even in the Norway-England game. It touched the table. But VAR didn't show a spike. The ball didn't show a spike.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know. I saw the visual evidence of it. I couldn't make out in the visual evidence whether it touched the cable or not. Many people are saying it did. It kind of did, but I can't see the visual evidence of it. So then I have to rely on that chip. It's an expensive chip on the ball. But now FIFA has released a statement saying the ball says it didn't chip or he didn't come into contact with anything, then I think you have to believe what they say. So I don't know. I'm not going to make it into a controversy unless the chip showed that there was some bit of contact and then you did not pay any heed to it. Then I agree that would have been a big slip up. But if and don't go by the visual proof. I know that many, because you keep hearing that commentary and people saying it on social media. Oh, see, there is a dip. There is a dip. I'm not sure, but if there was so much of a dip, you would have also seen players, and especially typically football players with the antics that they have, they would have had raised arms, things like that. Nobody really did it other than social media. I really didn't see anybody. So I don't know how you guys saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
I
think
didn't
just even
understand
a
the hue and
hair.
cry around that one either. I didn't understand the hue and cry. So it reminds me of another very interesting incident, although in this case the technology didn't get it right. I don't know if you guys remember last World Cup. Uh, Cristiano Ronaldo tried claiming a goal when Bruno Fernandes made a cross. He went for the header. And then he kept trying to claim the goal, kept trying to claim the goal. It reached the point where the Portuguese Football Association actually submitted proof in terms of videos that, listen, he did touch the goal. Then they used the similar technology, the chip, and they tried to figure out if any way it touched his head. The point is, when I looked at that visually, I could see absolutely zero deflection, like nil. And again, even in this case, when I was looking at it without, I was like, it didn't seem like there was anything. So I don't really know. This is again one of those cases where either there's a technology malfunction or I think there was actually nothing really in it. If it did touch, and as Nikhil rightly points out, if the player actually, if it was that visible, I mean, football players make a hue and cry about nothing. I'll remember that one time when Luis Suarez was appealing for a handball because the goalkeeper handled it. So, I mean, that's the level that football players are at. They'll appeal for anything. So, if they had seen a proper deflection here, I think they would have been a hue and cry. I think, yeah, this is more a case of a social media cooked up controversy rather than it being anything concrete.
Well done to the referee. Well done. Not me. Haaland's father, by the way, has put out a tweet that has gone viral about that. So, well, it had to happen, right? Refereeing war. I think this is the story of the FIFA World Cup of 2026. In the Switzerland
So,
case, it's
Alpinge
absolutely correct.
Haaland is criticizing the referees. Very interesting. He'd better hope Roy Keane doesn't come and two-foot him.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's
Yeah,
part of
but
folklore, isn't it?
that tackle was
Oh, that was horrendous. The
really
most
bad.
thuggish thing I've
Very
probably
bad.
seen in the football field.
But it was
Yeah,
planned,
very bad.
apparently. He did plan it.
Yeah,
Else
yeah,
why would
yeah.
he do it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Plan it out.
yes.
That
Roy
makes it
Keane
even
planned
worse,
to
by the
actually
way. That
go.
make that makes it even
Exactly, that
worse.
makes it even worse. Because it's preempted, he went there with the intention to cause damage and he pretty much ended Haaland Senior's career. That was really bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We've got a couple more super chats. I'm going to take that. Bhaswar Banerjee says, for me, honestly, England goes in as the favorites. Though both defenses don't give me any confidence, it'll come down to the brilliance of Kane, Messi, and Bellingham. That's his preview of the game. I think he puts it across very nicely.
Hmm.
Amorim's back. Oh my God, that could tell you a thing or two if you want to know about our next chat. He says, Sid, your despise towards England is bizarre. I understand it's their media, but then again, this team has been better than many others in this edition. Yes, thoughts.
I don't hate the team. I don't like the fans of the England football team. And that is why, if you want to save
Fans again.
world football, Argentina, now you're our last hope on this planet.
Listen, if
That,
you're talking about fan behavior and your savior is Argentina, yeah, pick your
oh, that's
poison,
good.
my friend. Pick your poison. Trust me. Trust me. Argentine fans are amongst one
Oh,
of the most notorious fans. I'll never forget when they ended up getting into clashes with each other and actually got, I think it was a Copa Libertadores final in 2018. It was River versus Boca. So
oh,
bad were the entire scenes that they ended up getting it shifted to Madrid. So
yes.
I know English fans are no beacons of morality, but Argentine fans are bad. Trust me, they know better.
Of course, of course. I mean, there is bloodshed during the if you look at Super
Classico.
Classicos here between River and Boca. I know that. The Argentine fans also. But again, England fans claim that they are the best because the team has achieved so little. Argentina, at least you won 3 World Cups here, so you can at least talk.
And multiple copas.
Multiple copas, exactly. So that is why the team is pretty good. I mean, Harry Kane, very decent bloke. He's finally getting his due. Bellingham has been in good form. Then you look at even on and off, when you look at it, even Bukayo Saka has also been in there. So sure, Pickford also. By the way, Pickford also, when you look at it, he had a pretty good game. So I
Yeah,
don't
but
blame
that's
the
also
team.
coming off a couple of bad games. I'll never forget his horrendous keeping against DR Congo.
Oh
Could
yes,
have cost you the game.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's the fans, especially after that 2021 Euro. That's the reason.
But the only
Argentina,
disclaimer
listen,
I'll put to the comments that both Siddharth and Shane have said about fans, I think what they're trying to imply is fans from those countries. So English
hmm,
fans meaning fans from England of so English fans
yeah,
otherwise it could be in India or whatever are very different to the reference
Yeah.
that they are making. Ditto for Argentina fans. Argentina fans
hmm,
from Argentina, and I agree with you. Having seen them up close, I think wow, they are a rowdy lot. I'd have to say one
yeah.
of the rowdiest that you have, and that's exactly one of the comments that we've got in our chat. He says Argentina is very unpopular. This is Peace Craver saying Argentina is very unpopular in South America. Racism in Argentina is deeply rooted in policies designed to cultivate a white Argentina by replacing the presence of Afro Argentina and indigenous folks. And that's actually true. If you read the history of
Yeah.
Argentina, it is quite true. And so that is a very accurate comment. I'm not reading just off the comment, but having followed a bit myself. This is a true reflection. So that is a part. But as I said, each country has its history, and we are not citizens of those countries, and that's their own guilt to deal with. I think we only comment about
Hmm.
football, and our likes and dislikes and comments are restricted to what we see in the 90 or the 90 plus minutes that we see. Rakesh Bhushan again with a super chat. He says England's cricket team routed the world champions India. Can England's football team now do the same against Argentina? My God, that's a nice one.
Wow. That's a very
Well, they're
interesting
facing
analogy.
for
I
the
don't know
first
if they
time after
route them.
2002.
Hmm.
2002 was the last time England Argentina faced off. They have a history. The hand of Diego, no longer hand of God, hand of Diego. You have in 2002 when Beckham got the revenge of 1998 after he was sent off in controversial circumstances. It's going to be a very, very spicy encounter. That is the one thing I can look at it. But
Yeah, and
well,
it's
I
not
don't
just
think they can
footballing
rout
history,
Argentina.
Siddharth. Don't forget. Political
Hmm?
political history also between these two teams. Remember the Falklands War and everything.
Of
That's
course.
in fact the Falklands was one of the things that the Argentine team of '86 kind of used this fuel to motivate them. That's why when Maradona said it's a little bit the hand of Diego, a little bit the hand of God. He was saying that this is divine intervention for what England had done in Falklands. So there is a political angle as well as much as there is to anything else when it comes to this. Obviously, the footballing side, 86 England feel aggrieved by 98. It's in fact again the English feel aggrieved by what Diego Simeone did. 2002 was revenge, but they've never met since. That's the beauty of the World Cup. If this World Cup was run by ICC, England Argentina would be in the same group every time.
That is true. That is true. Argentina, Brazil also may be in the same group all the time. You could
Yeah,
look at
yeah, and they
that.
have not met
Portugal,
till like at least I don't
Argentina,
know how many decades.
Portugal, Portugal, Argentina also in the same group. So
Yeah. Brazil,
that would
Argentina
be.
haven't faced each other since 1990.
Oh my God,
Imagine.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
But the good
That's
thing about this World Cup is, and that's another interesting bit, that after a very, very long, I don't know when was it the last time, but the top four ranked teams in the
Yeah.
world, ever since FIFA rankings were introduced, they have made it to the top four ranked before the World Cup started, have made it as the final four. So your world number one, two, three, four are your four semi-finalists in the World Cup. So I think eventually, no matter how you look at it and who got what draw and which team got knocked out early on, which team remained, all that aside, your top four teams, possibly if you were to make those draws, I know nobody would have picked Germany to be out as early as they did or Netherlands to be out, but eventually I think the majority of people, once you were going to pencil in uh, your once the round of 32 was made and everyone started doing their predictions, I think a lot of people had this semi-finals on the cards. It was going to be Spain versus France on that side and England versus Argentina on that side, and that's exactly what we've got. Before we wind up, any thoughts, anything you want to share?
Shane, you
Nothing
were.
at all.
No, sorry. What was the question? There was a bit of a network interruption.
Anything you want to share? No question. Or should we say bye bye?
Again, it's just that I think this Argentina team look good as they are. I'm making a bold prediction. I remember I was one of the few in 22 who would call that Argentina would win the tournament. Everyone said no. Calling it this time, it's coming home.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh my
Oh
God.
no.
They're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
after
think so.
decades, you
You know
finally
why?
have four teams
I
who have
don't
at least
think
won a World
so.
Cup.
And I'll give you a
Hmm.
reason why. Heritage. It's the heritage.
Heritage.
The
Heritage is
heritage.
about right. Yeah, they've got the bottling heritage down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, sorry,
Look,
Siddharth. You have the final word.
yeah, Shane, I think ever since 1990 is the first time that all four teams who are in the semi-final have won the World Cup at least once.
It
All
could
four
be.
teams.
It could be. You don't know. It could be. Because yeah, in recent times you've had teams like Morocco as well reach semis, and they don't really have much of a legacy. Portugal had made
Netherlands.
the semis in 2006. Netherlands never won a World Cup. Yeah, yeah, it could be. It could very well be that you've got four teams who've won the World Cup at least once, all looking to add another stuff.
Yeah. But as far as it's coming home is concerned, no, 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 no. I think my prediction, I think, is still nearing. It's, I think, Argentina versus Spain. That's going to happen in the final. It's the passing of the torch moment between Lamine and Messi. Let's see how that pans out.
That
It's a
would be something.
finalisma which no one
Oh
thought.
my God. Oh my God. I mean, so we've got with three people here with three different predictions. One's gone with Spain, the other's gone with England. To me, I mean, I think France are looking like the strongest team.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I mean, they look like the team. So the favorites for me remain France. And I'm not saying it now. I think I said it at the start of the tournament also. Amazing squad
Hmm.
also. But what we can promise is that it's building up to a great final three games of the FIFA World Cup. We look forward to your company throughout those games as well. We are, of course, going to be live after each of those games, both those semi-finals and the finals here on Sports Today. So stay subscribed, keep showering the love. We couldn't take all comments, but we've read all of it. See you guys. Bye bye.
Bye
All
bye.
right.
It's
Have a great
not coming
Sunday.
home. Yes.
It's
And it's
coming.
not coming home. Bye bye.